Hello my dear friends and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. So in today's one, we have some really exciting news. Temuera Morrison and Ming-Na both gave interviews in the most recent edition of SFX magazine, and in there are a couple of very big teasers, as well as an awesome looking poster, but we'll come to that later. So without much further ado, and without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. So we're going to start with the section by Ming-Na, as well as getting under Boba Fett's helmet. Ming-Na promises the new show is going to delve more into the life of bounty hunters. In her own words, she says, in the Book of Boba Fett, there will be a lot of exploration of the dynamics between Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, how they complement each other and what they get out of that relationship. He is someone that she respects and they have definitely bonded with him saving her. It allowed her to realize that she might be better off not being solo anymore. She then says that Fennec Shand sees her alliance with Boba Fett as a very smart move, in the sense that she'll have somebody watching her back, and even though it might be extra baggage to have to align herself with someone else, the reward for her at the moment is greater. And you know, Boba died, or we thought he did, in the Sarlacc pit, so I think that both of them share those near-death experiences in common. They both have vulnerability that they understand. Now, I don't want to put words in Ming-Na Wen's mouth, but it really seems to hint at something maybe romantic in this relationship. Personally, I'm not too much of a fan of this. I'd rather they stayed as allies and kept the relationship platonic, but you never know. And the way that she words this, especially talking about the depth and exploration of the dynamic of that relationship, it is certainly a possibility, and I know a few of you have been saying you really want that to happen. I'm not a fan of it, but if you are, then you might be getting something in this series that you wanted, unless I'm misinterpreting what Ming-Na Wen said. But when she talks about the dynamic between them and how deep it is, it kind of sounds to me like the start of something else. Or maybe it's simply because at their age as a mercenary and bounty hunter, they want to be less solo and work together as a team, something they may have been reluctant to do in the past, but as we know, Boba Fett saved Fennec, and Boba Fett also knows what it's like to have a near-death experience. We don't know all of their history. It's something that maybe the Bad Batch Season 2 could explore, or maybe we will get answers later in the month on December the 29th. Now, speaking of getting answers, we now come on to the really exciting bit. Temuera Morrison spoke in this article as well, and he basically said, listen Star Wars fans, you're going to get the answers that you want. Some of them are going to be brief, some of them are going to be long-winded, but you will get answers. But enough paraphrasing, let me show you the exact quote. Temuera Morrison starts his quote by being very honest, saying that at first he was a bit skeptical of bringing the character back. Let's see what he said. Possibly the show's biggest challenge then is developing the character without destroying the mystique that's previously been integral to the Fett brand. And then Temuera Morrison says, yes, and that's where we kind of opened up too much of the can at times. I did have my reservations, but hey, I trust the people I work with. I was so lucky I had people like Dave Filoni, who has the ability to connect some of those dots, some of the ancient dots, and to keep that authenticity. I relied on him a lot because I'm not one of these actors that reads every comic book and every bounty hunter book. So a bit of a tease there. Dave Filoni may have drawn upon War of the Bounty Hunters, which came out at the same time that the Book of Boba was filming, and we might even see some deep cut references. Obviously we've spoken on this channel about Black Coruscant, Dr. Aphra, and other possible comic book characters who might come into live action. I'm really curious to see how deep this will go, because Disney Star Wars so far has not really given us much deep cuts in any of the live action projects. I really hope that changes with the Book of Boba Fett, because there is so much expanded universe content, there is so much canon and Legends comic book content, and I really hope they do justice to every single iteration of Boba Fett. So then SFX say, for all that preserving Boba's enigmatic side is important, there are some things we surely have to find out. In canon, there is a 5-year gap between Fett becoming a Sarlacc, I really love that wording, and a re-emerging in the Mandalorian. So how did he free himself from that grisly digestive tract, and how did Marshal Cobb Vanth come into possession of his armor? And then they joke, if these questions remain unanswered, there'll surely be a rebellion on the streets of Mos Eisley and beyond. And then this is the best quote of all. To wrap it all up, Temuera Morrison says, there will definitely be a number of answers, some long-winded answers, some short and snap answers, some colourful answers. We're filling in a lot of gaps. And I don't know about you guys, but that is what I want to hear. The fact that the Book of Boba Fett is going to say, look, Star Wars fans, you have a lot of questions about Boba Fett's past, where he's been, how he survived the Sarlacc, and we're going to show you all of that. And as I mentioned in a previous video, Temuera Morrison did say all the way back in June with Collider that we will get flashbacks to The Empire Strikes Back, and I wonder if they'll go even further back and maybe give us flashbacks to Jango Fett, and if we're lucky, Mace Windu. But as you guys know, I love Mace Windu and I don't think he died, so if he does appear, he doesn't even need to be a flashback because surely he is still alive. But I don't want to go on a Mace Windu tangent once again. I seem to really come back to that a lot with the Book of Boba Fett. Let's stay on topic. So from this interview, we gather we are going to have some of our questions answered, and Ming-Na when expressed that we're also going to get a deep dive into the relationship between Fennec and Boba Fett. What an incredible time to be a Star Wars fan, I just can't wait, and at this point we're literally counting down the days. I really hope this blows up online, I hope the Book of Boba Fett really catches on, and we can only hope and pray for a massive Luke Skywalker type moment right at the end. I'll try not to get my hopes up, but as a massive Boba Fett fan, I just can't help but be over the moon. And evidently this article also mentions Cobb Vanth, and I think it's almost certain that he's going to appear in the Book of Boba Fett. His character set up in Chapter 9, the Marshal, was blatantly there to set up a revisit at a later time. Where better than the Book of Boba if they're going to show us when Boba escaped the Sarlacc and went on the hunt for his armor. So there could also be more tie-ins to the Aftermath trilogy, which I think would be absolutely brilliant. So as I promised guys, let's take a look at the new poster from this issue. Another glorious shot of Boba's throne. You see the Rancor engraved there on the right, and Temuera Morrison as Boba Fett looks so in shape. He looks absolutely awesome, as does Fennec Shand, who at this point has become one of my favourite characters. Take it all in guys, in 28 days time we're going to be reveling in the marvel that is the Book of Boba Fett, and as always my dear friends, I will be doing full episode breakdowns, giving you my reviews and analysis. It's going to be an amazing time, and that leads us straight into 2022, which is surely the Beskar age of Star Wars. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Bad Batch Season 2, Andor, and The Mandalorian Season 3. And finally my dear friends, just to wrap things up on a light note, we have some also Funko Pops coming our way, and in particular Jar Jar Binks, but this iteration of everyone's favourite Gungan is from the Clone Wars. That's right, Senator Jar Jar Binks. Now I think Collider made a mistake here because they state in the article that the Jar Jar Binks Funko release is linked to the Book of Boba Fett. Now I discussed this with some of the Megalorians in our Discord community last night, and a lot of us think the wording is very odd, but it got me wondering, what if it's not? And what if Jar Jar Binks is in fact going to be in the Book of Boba? It'd be the most unlikely addition, and I think we'd all be shocked. It's most likely just a typo, because StarWars.com make it clear that this is for the Clone Wars line. But don't give up hope yet guys if you're a Jar Jar Binks fan. I know lots of you hate him and some of you love him, but the Dark Lord of the Sith himself might return one day. I would love for Ahmed Best to one day reprise the role of Jar Jar. As you guys know, I grew up on the prequels, so I wasn't part of the generation that found him too annoying. Now as a grown adult, I kind of see that point of view, but I still love Jar Jar nonetheless. But I digress. Basically, there's a Funko of Jar Jar coming up, and Collider seems to think it's for the Book of Boba. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you looking forward to the Book of Boba Fett? I want to hear all of what you have to say down below. And I also want to say, if you want access to exclusive videos not found here on YouTube, and you want to be part of the Discord community, then why not become a patron? The link is down there in the description. We have 5 tiers, and I promise you won't regret it. May the Force be with you all. I'm Star Wars Meg. Have an amazing day.